In this video, I'll be showing the SunPC hardware-based PC compatibility solution for SBus-based SPARCStation systems. This solution was available both for SunOS and Solaris. Version 3 of SunPC is for SunOS and version 4 is for Solaris. The final version is version 4.2, which had full compatibility with Solaris 2.6 and Windows 95. My demonstration machine is a SPARCStation 5 with the maximum 256 megabytes of memory, a 110 MHz Microspark 2 processor, and the 24-bit frame buffer.
Before we jump into seeing the SunPC in action, I thought I would share the system architecture diagram. As you can see, it's a very simple solution, at least from this high-level view. The SunPC card doesn't really have much hardware on it. You have the 5x86 CPU, a cache controller and dedicated cache, an x86 to SPARC interface, named the Limbo chip. That's it. All the other PC-side stuff is created in software via the SunPC software and the driver module in Solaris. The SunPC card does not have its own dedicated memory like a lot of other PC compatibility cards on other platforms would have. Instead, the Solaris operating system passes a requested block of system memory to the SunPC software to hand off to the SunPC card. It's a very clean solution in that any of these software-defined devices could be theoretically updated in a software patch. For example, the emulated VGA controller could get new abilities over time. Sadly, Sun did not take advantage of this. The emulated VGA controller stayed stuck at 16 colors until the very end. This makes operating systems like Windows 95 really disgusting to look at on the SunPC, but this was never meant for multimedia, as they do not emulate any Sound Blaster or any other multimedia controllers. It is clearly designed for business applications, engineering applications, programming, etc., nothing multimedia. But this fills a needed niche on the SPARCStation platform, which is very much an engineer's platform, not so much a multimedia platform. If you're going to do multimedia, you bought a Macintosh, you bought an Amiga, or you bought a SGI. You didn't buy a Sun for multimedia necessarily. It wasn't the best pick for that. This next diagram shows how the emulated networking functionality of the SunPC works. SunPC networking is fully supported in DOS and Windows for Workgroups, as well as Windows 95. And it bridges the Windows networking stack over through the Sun Solaris networking stack to the physical network connection, which is shared between the Solaris host and the SunPC emulated environment. It's a very clean model, as you can see. A lot of the protocol stacks, as you can see, they're exe and com files. They don't run in the Solaris environment. They run in the SunPC environment. So the area in the dashed box would be what comes with Windows for Workgroups, while everything outside of that comes with SunPC.
To start SunPC after installation, all you have to do is type SunPC at the command line once setting the proper startup variables for the path. And it only takes a short moment and it will fire up. It will immediately boot into Caldera Open with custom Sun extensions so that you can access the Solaris file system from DOS and vice versa. You have full copy-paste support between the systems, which is very nice. And you have pause and reboot, as well as send to LPT if you want to send a print job. To start Windows, just like any other DOS PC, you type Win. I have Windows 3.1 installed. And it's fairly snappy. It's not slow at all. Some disclosure, this SPARCStation has a modern 120 gig SCSI hard drive pulled out of a Dell server from 2003, so the SCSI bus is getting saturated. And as you can see, we booted into Windows 3.1 fairly quickly. I'm going to attach the mouse to the VM. Not VM, semi-virtual machine. You have a hardware CPU assigned to it. And in this Windows environment, I have the full Office suite installed, and I also installed the Corel suite for image editing and Visio for making diagrams, and the full Microsoft games for Windows 16-bit, classics such as Chips Challenge, Jazz Ball, Rodents Revenge, Ski Free. There's no point in Windows 3.1 unless you have this. There's no sound, but the games run perfectly fine. So let's just start with Minesweeper. Yeah, it's Minesweeper. It runs. And I'll say it runs quite snappy. There's no perceivable lag in a simple application like this. Let's see what else we should try. We can try Jazzball. That has a little more graphics going on. And the software-defined 16-color graphics aren't horrendous. They're decently speedy, and you won't be pulling out your hair trying to use it. For office applications, oops, didn't mean to right-click. You have the middle click. That's a quirk about this system. The middle click button on the Sun mouse is mapped to the right click in the emulated PC. I'm not really trying at the game, just to demonstrate the graphics. Let's try Chips Challenge. The SunPC opens up a whole world of software that you normally would not have on a early to mid-90s Solaris or SunOS workstation. It was a needed thing at the time. For example, if you were working in PC-specific software and you didn't have it on Solaris, this was the key. For example, Visio or Microsoft Office. Chips Challenge is a little laggy. I wouldn't recommend playing it in SunPC, but it does in a pinch. Let's take a look at Rodents Revenge. If I remember right, it's also a little slow, but perfectly playable. Yeah, there's definitely some input lag between what you push on the keyboard and what actually happens on the screen. And this isn't in every application, but it happens mostly in little games like this. Let's check out Ski Free. Ski Free actually works okay. As you can see, the emulated graphics are not the fastest thing in the world. They're nothing in comparison to an actual native 486 PC. But this was never meant to play games. This was meant to run office productivity, scientific applications, programming tools, that sort of thing. I wonder if I shrink this window, if it'll run any faster. It does run a little faster. That might just be a placebo effect. And just as proof that we're running both environments at the same time, you can of course multitask between the Sun environment and the PC environment. Come on. There we go. Let's just run the calculator. This is the Open Windows desktop environment for Solaris 2.6. I should have mentioned that earlier. And you can see some interesting palette swapping going on, even though this is a 24-bit frame buffer. So we're back in the Windows environment. You have to attach the mouse every time. Let's take a look at Tetris, and then we'll move on to the productivity suites. Tetris runs decently, if I remember right, from when I last tested this. Of course, it's not a particularly demanding game.
As you can see, Tetris runs perfectly fine on SunPC. It's quite smooth and playable. I didn't really try at playing the game, as I was more focused on just getting through recording the demonstration. Next up, we'll test some of the built-in Windows 3.1 applications. The clock, of course, works fine, and it gets the correct time and date from the host system. The calculator, of course, works as you would expect. And Notepad is Notepad. It hasn't changed at all in all these years, although I think Microsoft did update it in Windows 10. I can't quite remember. Next is Paintbrush, or otherwise known as Microsoft Paint. And Paintbrush works great. There's no problems whatsoever. This segment will be sped up a bit to conserve time. You don't need to see me slowly attempting to draw a very poorly rendered house in 16 colors. But I can say that Paint runs just fine. Next, let's take a look at File Manager. The G drive is a folder I allocated specifically to the SunPC to store Windows 3.1. E provides access to your Solaris user home folder. F provides drivers and utilities for the SunPC, Windows 95, Windows 3.1, and Unix drivers, as well as Unix compatibility tools. As you can see in the right-hand column, they give you access to some Solaris commands from within the DOS environment. I haven't tried testing any of those applications yet. I haven't had a need to. The R disk provides access to the root file system, so you have access to all the files on the Solaris system, whatever your user can access according to the permissions. So if your user account doesn't have access to a folder, you're not going to be able to get access to it in SunPC. For this last segment, I don't have too much more to say. I'm going to allow music to roll and allow you to just see the system in action. Looks like the SunPC has crashed. This happens from time to time. It's not that frequent, but when it does happen, the whole emulated environment comes to a grinding halt. This doesn't impact the host Solaris environment. That keeps on going like nothing happened, and SunPC does give you a graceful way to recover. You just right-click and click Reboot. I will use this crash as an excuse to end the video. I didn't really have much else in mind to show about the SunPC software. I think this video gives you a general idea of how the SunPC works and how it performs. I might, at a later date, upload some benchmarks I'll run on the DOS side of things to show how it compares to a real PC. If you found the video interesting, I'm glad you did. If not, please leave a comment below if you did or did not, and I'll be glad to take it into account for future videos. If you have any ideas as to what I should do with the SunPC, I'd be glad to hear it and give it a try.